All right. Hi, everybody. This is Maddie with Constitutional Corner. And I wanted to kind of take a look at this today. I thought this was pretty interesting. But before I begin, I want to say that nothing I am saying here is legal advice and should only be used for educational and entertainment purposes only. Okay, that being said, so you get a case, you're out, and you're doing some civil rights investigations, and the police retaliate against you, and it gets brought before a prosecutor. And most of the time, I think we've seen it where the prosecutor is, they're not even going to take the case. They know that they're going to lose the case. So a lot of times it'll get dismissed. But there are these times where there are people that are out there that are getting prosecuted, and it's maliciously done. It's with malicious intent. So what do you do? Oh my God! You're being prosecuted for something that you've not even done anything illegal or unlawful, and what do you do? So what I thought I would do is pull up some things for you and show you a couple of things that anybody that has a computer or whatever can pick up and take a look at. So, suing for damages, malicious prosecution in a criminal case. Prosecutors who bring criminal cases without adequate justification may be sued for doing so and may not be protected by prosecutorial immunity. That's a hard word to say, by the way, if the prosecutor's actions were egregious enough. So basically, hey Huckleberry, how are you? Hi guys, good to see everybody. Right to film, everybody. Southeastern, how are you? Good to see you guys. So basically, you're not just thrown to the wolves and, it's not the end all just because they're doing that. Now, I don't play nice with everybody, especially if you're coming after my freedom. So, this is something that if I am just trying to beat the charge real quick or whatever, I might just bring this up in my opening statement that, if it's malicious enough, then, malicious prosecution, what do you want to do here? If the charges are so trumped up and so ridiculous and the prosecutor goes through with it, then, you should find yourself an attorney and say, hey, listen, they're prosecuting me maliciously. And that's why this exists. This is why we have these safety walls, these safeguards in place, if you will. So let's move on to a little bit more here. Okay. Okay, so hi guys, it's good to see everybody. Thank you for stopping in. An example of a malicious prosecution in a criminal case. A county prosecutor runs for mayor and loses the election. He behaves in a local businessman. He believes that a local businessman who is active in politics played a large role in sabotaging his campaign. The prosecutor, who becomes obsessed with the idea that the businessman caused him to lose the election, when the prosecutor grabs the opportunity to accuse and charge the man with attempting to bribe public officials, the prosecutor takes the lead role in the case, and eventually the man's attorney are able to expose the fact that there was no evidence to support the charges and that the case was nothing but a vendetta. The charges are dismissed, but only for several months of the investigation and numerous hearings before the criminal court judge. The businessman pays thousands of dollars to his attorney and his business loses money. The businessman can file a lawsuit for the malicious prosecution against the prosecutor. The businessman can claim that the prosecutor abused the legal process and abused his authority as a prosecutor. The businessman can ask for payment for damages he suffered as a result of the criminal case, such as being held in jail for several days, the cost of defending against the charges, lost business due to missed work, and damage to his reputation in the community. So you can see that it can add up pretty quickly if they're doing that. And let me pull this up here real quick. Okay, so this is called allocation of authority. Okay, scope of representation, allocation of authority. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand, that, and this is from Arkansas, but they're all pretty close as far as this goes. Okay. Subject to paragraphs C and D, a lawyer shall abide by the client's decision concerning objectives of representation, and as required by Rule 1.4, shall consult with the client as to the means by which they are to be pursued. A lawyer may take such action on behalf of a client as impliedly authorized to carry the representation. A lawyer shall abide by the client's decision whether to settle a matter. In a criminal case, the lawyer shall abide by the client's decision after consultation with a lawyer as to a plea to be entered, whether to waive a jury trial, or whether the client will testify. A lawyer's representation of a client, including representation by appointment, does not constitute an endorsement of the client's political, economic, social, or moral views or activities. A lawyer may limit the scope of representation if the limitation is reasonable under the circumstances and the client gives informed consent. The client's informed consent must be confirmed in writing unless the representation of the client consists solely of telephone consultation. The representation is provided by a lawyer employed by nonprofit legal services programming. This is not a penal code. This is court rule. Okay, this is a little different. This is when you're in court and you're there. This is what your scope of representation. This is the allocation of authority. This is what an attorney can and can't do, basically. So if, and we were just talking on prosecutors. But what I wanted to show you is that if you're going, say, head-to-head with somebody else's attorney, this is what you're facing. And this is what they're able to do and what they're not able to do. Does that make any sense? So, the attorney does not represent general or in matters other than those as agreed upon. A lawyer shall not counsel a client or assist a client in conduct that the lawyer knows is criminal or fraudulent, but a lawyer may discuss the legal consequences of any proposed course of conduct with the client and may counsel or assist the client to make good faith effort to determine the validity, scope, meaning, or application of the law. So basically what it's saying there is that their attorney cannot do something or say something that's going to violate your constitutional rights. So does that make any sense to anybody? Any questions so far? Okay, so I don't see any questions. Okay, so we're going to move on here. Okay, now. Rules of professional conduct. Yeah, there's a lot to learn. And by the way, guys, I'm not ignoring you. Sam I Am, hi. Ed Brooks, hi. 6.3, hello. So this is the kind of stuff, guys, that if I get my van and I'm able to get around the country, this is the kind of stuff that you can expect when I come and I help mentor new people, new auditors, new investigators. This is the kind of service that I want to provide for you. So I hope that you guys... hi, Zephyr. How are you? Zephyr Sky. I know who you are. Chloe, untups. Come. Okay. And by the way, guys, this right here is my buddy. That is my baby. Her name is Chloe. Let me put this back. Okay. So, now, so we started out with malicious prosecution in a criminal case. You know, I really feel that cases like Benkai and Cajun are really borderlining this malicious prosecution. I wouldn't call this legal help, Ed. This is more just an awakening. This is just something to say, hey guys, you know, there's stuff on the internet, and you know, if you get confused about things, look them up. This is just kind of a direction to help. I really love my community. I really love you guys, and I love what I do. Yes, this is definitely education. I call it edutainment. So this is what this is basically. Abusive process is another one too. Let's look at abusive process. So let's see the difference between abusive process and malicious prosecution, because there is a difference. Okay, so the two claims are similar, malicious prosecution and abusive process. But there are some essential differences. A plaintiff can sue for abusive process when a defendant starts a legal process with the intention to obtain results for which the process was not designed. A plaintiff can sue for malicious prosecution when a defendant maliciously prosecutes a criminal case or uses a civil proceeding against the plaintiff when a defendant knows he or she doesn't have a case. In addition, the plaintiff must have already obtained a favorable termination of the defendant's malicious case before he or she can sue for malicious prosecution. So that's the malicious prosecution part. Sorry, I needed a drink there of water. Okay, so let's take a look at the abusive process. The abusive process, as already mentioned, a plaintiff can sue for the abusive process when a defendant starts a legal process with the intention to obtain results which the process was not designed, which is the same. A legal process can be any part of a lawsuit. not simply the entire lawsuit. For example, a defendant's original lawsuit may have legitimate, but the use of a particular deposition or other smaller discrete aspect of the lawsuit may not have been. Even though the defendant's lawsuit was not legitimate, the plaintiff can still sue for abusive process because of the illegitimate deposition. The best way to think of an improper purpose requirement in the abusive process claim is that although the defendant had a technical right to use the legal process, he or she did so to extort something else from the plaintiff. For example, trying to tie up property in a divorce proceeding in order to get the other spouse to agree to different child visitation rights. It is not worth noting that the abusive process claims are difficult to prove and are typically unsuccessful. Well, let's move on to malicious prosecution, okay? Because, I mean, with a police officer, you have more stuff like 42 U.S.C. Section 96, the RICO Act. You have, 18, not 42. 18 U.S.C. Section 96. You have abuse of power while under the color of authority. Let me say that again. Abuse of power while under the color of authority. 42 U.S.C. Section 1983. Failure to supervise. 42 U.S.C. Section 1983. So you have, there's different things. This is more for the court process. Okay. The Supreme Court rulings, you don't have to show them. Okay, let's talk about this for a minute, guys, because I think that there's a little bit of confusion about what you have to do and what you don't have to do. So basically, if you have an encounter, you don't have to say a word. You don't have to tell them that you're exercising your rights. You don't have to tell them that you're a journalist. You don't have to tell them that you're media. You don't have to tell them that you're observing them for public record. You don't have to tell them any of that. It's none of their damn business if you don't want it to be. However, if you're trying to do the movement and you're trying to spread goodwill through the movement, then I feel like there could be some room in there for some conversation, as long as the officer understands that it's a consensual, and that anytime you can stop talking and walk away. As long as those terms are good to go with him, then I see no reason why you would have to say much more. So anyway, let's get back to this real quick. A successful malicious prosecution claim requires all of the following: beginning or continuing a criminal or civil proceeding without reasonable grounds to believe that the allegations of the proceedings, and with a purpose other than simply getting a judgment in the proceeding, and that the proceeding has terminated in the favor of the person being prosecuted or sued, i.e. the future plaintiff of the malicious prosecution suit, must first win the suit against him or her. Let's look at the elements a little more closely, and I'm going to bring it down. A criminal proceeding is any process where the government can punish a person. This ranges from murder to parking tickets. A civil proceeding is typically where the plaintiff is not a governmental entity, although the defendant might be, and the plaintiff is suing for money or an injunction. Even if the people bringing the criminal or civil proceeding think that they have a winning case and are suing for a legitimate reason when they begin the case, they can be guilty of malicious prosecution, and if they discover a reason they cannot win during the case, but continue the case for improper motives anyway. And a really good example of this would be Honor Your Oath and the school board that he's been dealing with out there. They've been maliciously prosecuting him now for over a year over something that should not have been even brought to the courts in the first place. So, you know, that would be a really good example. If you go to his channel, you can see his videos. They've definitely been messing with him. And it's all malicious. It's all just to do what they're doing to him, to get him out of activism and get him to stop. And it's not working. So do I have any questions right now on where we are? No? Okay. Well, let's keep going then. All right, so typically, if a lack of reasonable grounds is proved, an improper purpose will be assumed. This means that the plaintiff in a malicious prosecution action does not necessarily need to prove that the defendant had an improper purpose. However, if the defendant can prove that he or she had a proper purpose, the plaintiff will not win. For example, if the defendant was doing it what his or her attorney recommended, even through the lawsuit, had no probable cause, then the defendant may not be guilty of malicious prosecution if she unreasonably but mistakenly thought her lawsuit was legitimate. So basically, it all comes down to a hearsay. Favorable termination. Finally, the plaintiff in a malicious prosecution suit must have successfully defended against and won the previous illegitimate lawsuit. In other words, if a person was convicted of a criminal charge or had to pay damages in a civil lawsuit, he or she cannot sue for malicious prosecution based on that criminal or civil legal action. And basically what this is saying, guys, is if you go and you take a deal and you know that you were railroaded, don't look for a malicious prosecution in the end, because it's not going to happen. They're not going to do it. And the reason is because it's so hard to prove them to begin with. So, you know, don't take those deals. You know, if you can fight it and you have the means to fight it, then fight it. But I mean, obviously everybody's got, you know, their own thing, and fighting these things can cost money if you don't want to do your homework. So, you know, that's pretty much where that is at. So any questions between improper purpose, the proceedings, malicious prosecution, abuse of process? Any questions? We can go back over anything, guys. Whatever you want to go back over. This is all for you guys. I can study this, you know, anytime. I want to do this for you. Is there anything that you guys want to go back over? All right, guys. Well, then it looks like we got this pretty well taken care of. You guys want to shoot the breeze with each other, or I can move on, or what do you guys want to do? That's cool, Zephyr. You know, nothing but love for you. Okay, so you know what? Let's look at a couple of other things too. Okay, so you catch a case, cop writes you a ticket. 5 points to the first person that can tell me what is the first action that you do when you have a court, before you, just as you catch your court date, the cop hands you your paper, you get home. What's the first thing that you do? Who can tell me? That was honor your oath, 6 point. Honor your oath, Jeff Gray. So, okay, so the first thing that I would do, okay, personally, is, well, let's pull it up. Yeah, call the Hemming Law Firm, exactly. So you need to file a motion. What's the first motion you guys are going to file? What is the first motion that you're going to file in this case? Exactly. Motion to dismiss. But before you get that motion to dismiss, what do you need from them before you can file that motion to dismiss? I typed that in on purpose to mislead you. But what's the first thing that you need to do before you can file your motions? Full disclosure. Very close. It's called discovery. But yes, full disclosure. You need to know, you need to see the evidence that they have against you. Do you have the right to that information? Do you have the right to all of the information? Now I'm going to trick you. Do you have a right to all of the information? If you're not an attorney. If you're saying yes, you're wrong. Okay, so I got you guys on this one. All right, so when you file for your motion for discovery, there's going to be information in there that is only privy to an attorney. Yeah, you don't get names of undercovers. You don't get their positions. There's a lot of information that you're not going to get as a pro se. But attorneys can get it. They just can't share it with you. They can't even tell you about it. So that was a trick question, and I got you guys. I love it. That's awesome. So we did something today. So yes, you have the right to majority of the evidence that's against you. The prosecution has to reveal what they're using against you, but you don't have the right to tactical information from the police and things like that. So, well, you can. Hi, how are you? Oh, thanks. I appreciate that, Guamito. I appreciate the shout out. Thank you, sir. Okay, so if you don't have the information, then if they bring that information out to use against you, then I would definitely petition to have that information thrown out, because if you're not privy to it and you're supposed to be able to face your accusers and know the information against you, then that information is unusable in my opinion. But I am not an attorney, so please don't take anything I say as legal advice. So, so you get your discovery. You file your motion to dismiss. You go to your arraignment, where you plead not guilty. Yeah, there are many motions. I'm trying to keep it just real basic, just really, really basic for right now. We'll go into those more later. I'd like to get Mr. Hemming on here and start talking about it. But anyway, or even Krista. I would love to have Mr. or Mrs. Hemming on here. But anyway, so you get to the arraignment. Is the arraignment where you hand your motions in? Can anybody tell me, is the initial arraignment where you hand your motions? Huckleberry, I'll get in touch with you later. If you have a case or something, I'll talk to you and we'll see about doing an intake. Okay. So, very good right to film. Very good. Okay, so you get the charge, you write up your motions. Who do you give your motions to? Does anybody know who you give your motions to? Where do you file your motions? Very good. YouTube clerk, county clerk. Exactly. You file it with the prosecuting office that's prosecuting you. And you do it far in advance so that the prosecutor and the judge can read it. Can you give your motion to dismiss to any other person besides the prosecutor that's prosecuting you or the county clerk? Is there anybody else that you could contact with a motion to dismiss proving your evidence? Not just the judge. Let's just say that this is county level, okay? Is there anybody that you could contact above their head? Is there anybody above the county judge's head? Think about it. There are two people in your state that lead law enforcement. There are two people that are in elected positions. State attorney is one. The attorney general, right, the state attorney general. And then there's one other. Governor. Thank you. Now, if you bring this to their attention and you show it to them, is there a chance maybe that it could get thrown out if they look at it and say, well, why are you even showing up in court? I believe that that's a way to take it above everybody's head so that, maybe that prosecutor has to think twice when the attorney general, his boss, calls him up on the phone and says, X case, it's thrown out. Get rid of it. Has that happened in the past? Yes. Would I recommend that you write your own letter? No, not really. I would say get an attorney to write it. But, well, it really doesn't matter what state you're in. They still have to abide by the Constitution. They still have to abide by your rights. And if your rights are being violated, they're being violated point blank. They're not going to want this to show up on their front doorstep with CNN tonight. So they're going to take care of business, especially if they're dealing with, an attorney firm that they know has Channel 4 news on speed dial. They're not going to take the chance. So, and Illinois, if you look at ACLU versus Illinois, I think it was 1996 or so, when they were trying to do that stop and ID, stop and frisk, it didn't go through. And the reason why is because the ACLU is very strong up there. And guys, when I get my van, I'm coming to Illinois to play. Let's do it. I don't play games. I will be in Illinois this year. Illinois already got their butt reamed in the Supreme Court in SCOTUS. But I will be there, guys. I will be there. I'm just working on getting a car. Or a van, rather. Oh, that's awesome, Huckleberry. Thank you. I appreciate that. But, so, and I want to help everybody's channel get started, too. So, guys, if you can spread the word, I would really appreciate it. Now, is there any questions about anything that we can touch on that I can help you guys with? You guys have any questions, concerns? Do you want to talk about civil rights investigations? I can share some stuff with you guys that EOG, God rest his soul, shared with me if you want, or whatever you guys want to do. This is your time. Okay, so first I want to start talking about wiggle room, because I like wiggling. Very, very wiggly. So, wiggle room. When you're around private property and it's not just open to the public. It's open to the public, but it's still private property. If you never step foot on that property, then you can't be trespassed. You can't even be asked to leave. And if you are, you have to leave, or it's trespassing. I have one person left watching me right now. So I guess, two people watching me. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. All right, guys. I'm here too, Huckleberry, but... Oh, okay, so we still got more people. Well, guys, I have to take a quick bathroom break, so I'm gonna play you guys some music for a minute. And I will be... Oh, here we go. I like this guy, Mac Lethal. It's on the, I just commented it today. Yeah, I just got to go use the restroom, guys. So I'm going to leave you guys with some Mac Lethal. I will be back in 2 and 2. Hold on.
I straight rock to the rhythm, got the audience clapping. Gonna utilize 27 styles of rapping. Other people may try to video like this, but you know my shit is fatter and they all getting dissed. Oh yes, yes, y'all, I'm too fresh, y'all. Kate Upton got some nice breasts, y'all. But if she ain't got a booty, she ain't getting my G's. She need to do squats and eat some macaroni and cheese. East New York from the boogie down Bronx where the criminals hang. We pushing fat whips and criminal slang. Triple fat goose jackets, Tim boots and black beepers. My style is deadly, you can call me the Rap Reaper. Man, I'm from Cali, I ain't giving a fuck. I got a 40 ounce of OE straight getting drunk. You know I'm hanging at the Marriott with a few bitches. Drive away in my 6-4, hitting my switches. I'm saying, oh girl, I'm a motherfucking gangster. And when you give me pussy, I'm gonna say thank ya, cause I appreciate it. The hyphy movement was so fucking incredible. We got the ecstasy with this, alright, I'm fucking a schedule. I'm in the gun, I'm getting hyphy. Can't you understand me? It's unlikely, likely. We go dumb. All the big bodies, chopper, cocaine, coke, gang signs where we from. I got the molly, get a quick taste. Put Mac Dre on the $5 bill, do it with this face. Man, this the Krug style. Okay, you gonna sound tough no matter what you say. What? I think kittens are cute. I think puppies are cute. Koala bears are cute. I like sloths. Panda bears too. from the city and you know it's the town. 10 toes to the turf, put my foes on the ground. Take a whip of black and mild, it's that thug car smell. We moving weight up out the trunk like the drug cartel. I'm not good at my impression of Kanye. I bought my girl a Louis Vuitton latte. Master ceremonies, MCs, I'm sorry. You a master of none like Aziz Ansari. Man, I've been crazy. Ever since my girl made a tape with Ray J. Cause Ray J my favorite actor, and I wanna make part 2 with him, I have to. Then I wanna make part 3, featuring me having sex with me. Dance in leather pants, vote Donald Trump. Young Mac in the place to be. Got crystal bottles, $200 P. Ma, you look like Janet. Diamonds on my Rolex, looking like pomegranate. I sing at a kid. I'm not even close. I'm so rich. I eat avocado toast. And let me see your titties. I used to rap humble. Now what I say is cocky. And saying it's stocky like the goalie from a game of hockey. You can hit me in the face to stop me, but my name is Rocky. I'ma make you promptly learn MMA and go take karate. You gon' have to fight me with a hand grenade and a Glock, 2 cannons, chains, and a rock and a bandage taped to your cock. My fucking enemies ran away, didn't walk when I cocked back the cat and I blam away like I'm Pac. Oh yeah, boy. All you gotta do is be white and nasal, and you can be a rap rock singer on cable. Blah, 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 blah. Music like this sucks, blah, 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 blah. Man don't give a fuck competition, you know they get killed in the booth. You know I got grind like a dentist, so now you get drilled in the tooth. Who the fuck's that man? What'll come soft? Man look at enemies like they come court. Boy, boy, you look like you're very built. Rappers from the UK are very skilled.
Okay. I'm back, guys.
I'm a drug dealer.
Alright, so what's up, guys? I am back. Oh, she's chewing on a bone. Yeah, I'll show you. Give me. See? Chewing on her bone. Thank you. And it's good to be back. Now, let me see. All right. So, guys, what do you, is there any questions? You guys want to go over anything specific? Well, what about any questions, Zephyr? What kind of questions would you have? Like, if you could ask me anything about this. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Jack Beck. I love when Maddie goes full bitch on her audits. Oh, you're good, Huck. No problem. Here, I'm going to put some effects on. There we go. Okay, so we'll talk about wiggle room then. Staying on public easement. Can anybody tell me what the difference is between sidewalk and public easement? Can anybody tell me what the difference between the two is? No. What's the difference between a sidewalk and public easement? Exactly. Good answer, Ed. There is no difference. In fact, sidewalk dates back to early England when people used to walk off to the side of the road so that the carriages and stuff could run through. It's basically sidewalk is exactly what it says, walking on the side of the road. It's the public access for people that are pedestrians. Good. That was awesome. No such thing as easement on private property. Public easement is exactly that, public. Private property is exactly that, private. They don't mix. No such thing. Now, just because a storefront puts bushes out in the median divider does not mean that they own the road. You see what I'm saying? Just because it's manicured by that company does not mean it's private. Some companies do that manicure just to keep that appearance out front, but that doesn't mean that they own it. That just means that they're maintaining it. Big difference. Not true. Not true at all. If it's on public easement, regardless of any agreements with anybody, if those poles are not on private property, if they're on public property, and they're publicly owned. Now, there are poles that go on private property that were installed by the store owner or the property owner for whatever reason. That's a different story. But public utilities like water mains, culverts, water disposal, things like that, that's all public access. That's all city and state owned. And I would disagree with you. Also, let's talk about post offices for a minute. I noticed that there was a video that was put out a little earlier. I want to say over the last maybe day or so, talking about access to post offices. Now, if you've seen my video on Culver City, the reason why I was that brave is because I was under the direction and the tutelage of the Hemming Law Firm. When you're dealing with the post office, inside, outside, by the road, as long as it's not a restricted area, you are free to film. It is 100% lawful and protected activity. You can, I repeat, can go into a post office and record as long as you're not recording Can you walk down a pole line between two properties to escape from being followed? You know, the best thing to do, let me start off at the beginning, okay? You're getting ready, you want to go out and you want to do some recording. So the best thing to do is to make a plan. So the best way to plan it is, okay, so I want to go and let me pull up Google Maps here. Okay, so I get on here and I'm like, okay, I want to find something here. Las Vegas, POLICE, TRAINING. Okay, So we look over here and we're like, okay, so this is what I want right here. Yes. When I publish this, it'll be in the description, and it's also in, if you click onto my profile, right at the beginning, you'll see that I put it out there, GoFundMe. But I will do it. I can't seem to type on this application. So I will put it up there, and I am grateful for donations. Okay, so now I'm looking at this, right, and I want to know what it actually... Let me see if I can pull up the... Wait a minute. This is not... Okay. I want... satellite. Okay, so you're getting ready to go and do an audit. One of the first things that you're going to want to do when you're going to go and do an audit is a little reconnaissance. Okay, so let's say I wanted to go do this detention center. So I would come in here and I would take a look at it. The first thing that I notice is, where did he go? Yeah, eating first is definitely important. But the first thing I notice is this right here, a park. Right across from the detention center. It's pretty easy to lose people if you wanted to do that right in here. But anyway, so you got the detention center here. Let's look at it a little closer. Okay, so the first thing that we look at and we notice here is that there's a sidewalk that comes all the way around here. Okay, this is Stewart Ave, so it's obviously public domain. So you have an area here that looks like a regular parking lot and another entrance right here. Okay, so when I do mine, I always try to pull these up. So over here we have some correct care, which looks like a hospital. You got the detention center, and then right across here, you have a golf course. That is funny, Zephyr. Yes, definitely, bud. Okay, so you got all of this around here. This is the detention center. Let's zoom out a little bit and see. Okay, so you got a sports bar over here, which might be able to be used for parking. And it's relatively close to where you're going to be. Auto sales. And it looks like this is a pretty busy area, so I would imagine that there's a bus service pretty close by as well. But as you can see, this is kind of an industrial area, so this would be a pretty easy audit to pull. Okay, here it is, and you got all, it's a pretty busy area, so getting in and out would be pretty easy. So does that make sense to you guys? You know, planning out a really good, Uber is good, yep, definitely. That is definitely a good way to do it, is with Uber. But you're still going to want to find something like a department store or something like that they can drop you off in, you know, if you don't want to get caught. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not doing anything illegal, so I'm really not worried about what, you know, if they find me or know who I am. Well, you know, Even if that happens, what's the problem? If what you're doing is completely lawful and completely legal, then why are you worried about whether they get your name or not? Then don't let them intimidate you. Guys, did you see what happened when that female police officer tried tailing me when I did that nuclear center? Did you guys see that? See, this is the whole thing that people are not getting. Okay? We just went over the whole intimidation and everything like that. Guys, don't let them do it. Put the fear of the federal government on a flashlight, shove it up their butt, and turn the light on. Enlighten them. Let them know that what they're doing is not going to be tolerated. Okay? Stand up for your rights. Why do you think I show you guys all of the malicious prosecutions and all of that? Why do you think I show you guys that? So that you don't have to worry about that retaliation. Exactly, guys. And I love you guys for being here too, because this is going to help you just as much as it helps me. You know, being out here and talking about this really reinforces it in my mind and in my brain, so that when I'm out there and I'm working hard, that all this stuff comes back to me. So I'm studying just as much as you are right now, guys, just to let you know. But the thing is that if you're afraid of retaliation and you back down from it, that's when they start winning. And that's when they start pushing it even further on you. Oh, God. Is that all? Las Vegas police are really no big deal, Huckleberry. It's all about being able to exercise your rights. And then if they start pushing back on you, knowing when to go and say, hey, okay, you guys want to play games. Listen, I'm putting you on notice. Okay, this intimidation, it's going to stop. And if it doesn't, I'm going to file charges on you. 42 U.S.C. Section 1983. Deprivation through intimidation. Okay? So guys, this is how you handle that. You know, they come buzzing by your house and stuff like that. How about I would love for that to happen to me. Please let that happen to me, 6 Point. An officer show up in front of my house 2 weeks after the complaint at the DMV. Sure, show up at my house. I'd love to get the video, and I'll post it on there, and you guys can all laugh at that officer when I chase him off. I would love it. Show up, please. Don't scare me. Yes, exactly, Zephyr. They are. I'm not tongue-tied. You're not tongue-tied right to film. You're okay, buddy. But seriously, guys, don't let them intimidate you. It's your right to observe them. It's your right to observe them, to document what they're doing in their official capacity. It's your right to do this. Guys, you're not doing anything unlawful. And that's the thing you have to keep in mind, is that no matter what they like or don't like, what you're doing is not unlawful. You don't have to hide in a supermarket. You don't have to hide in Walmart. You don't have to hide in a mall till they go away. I don't care if they get my tag. What are they going to do to me? They're going to do probably what they did to Jeff. Oh, she's armed and dangerous and blah, blah, blah. And then I'll catch it through a Public Records Act or a Public Records request, and I'll handle it at that point. But I'm still not going to back down from my rights, and neither should you. If you're watching this, chances are you're pretty much into your rights just as much as I am. Yep. And use humor, guys. Use humor. You know, things like, dude, you're blowing it. You're absolutely blowing it. When you go home tonight and you kiss your wife, don't forget to bring the rose, because when you end up working at McDonald's, and you will when you lose your job, you know, you can tell her, hey, baby, I'm sorry I can't buy you that new Mercedes this year. You know, use some humor. Public records requests. Good. Okay. So, public records requests. I do a lot of these. Basically, when you do your public records request, okay, you want to be as thorough as possible if you want everything. So, being thorough. No, actually, you can do it in an email, and it's just as accepted. No, an email. Just do it through an email. I am, to whom it may concern, I am emailing you today, requesting the following records from such and such a date, such and such a time. I'm looking for all communications to include radio traffic, telephone traffic, cell phone traffic, texts, any videos, audios, anything that has to do with communication. Yes, they can charge for it. They can charge you for the money that it costs to have the person, especially on the videos. They can charge you for the IT, but it has to be at the cheapest rate by the lowest paid employee. They can't just charge you exorbitant charges and think they're going to get away with it, because they won't. Many times you'll see news stations and stuff like that, they'll fight the public records. Like anything else, not everything is public record. Things like tactical positions and things like I don't know, there's just undercover work and observation and things that you're not privy to that only your attorney would know. And only could know. So. How about anybody else? Public records requests. So, as long as it's done in some form of communication, whether it be verbal or in writing, then it should be fine. You don't have to show ID. You don't have to be present. You can do it through the mail. You can do it through email, whatever. There's different ways of doing things. Anyway, guys, any other questions? God, my dog is chewing on that bone. It still doesn't matter. You shouldn't have to show ID to get. That depends from state to state. You'd have to get your state's, federal has so many time. It's basically just a reasonable amount of time. Usually it's only a couple of days, a week at the most. My dog is just loving that bone. But anyway. Anything else, guys? You want to go over what else I would do in preparation? You can see that there's bus lines, everything. I'm not sure that all of that would be open. Chloe, can we quiet down, please? Go take it over in the corner. Go ahead. Good girl. So anyway, guys, any other questions? You should be able to get the police procedure handbook. as it pertains to interaction with the public. I don't think that you can get all of the information on police procedures, but you can get their standard operating procedures, I guess. Yeah, they'll tell you to pretty much download it online. And it's free. It's usually just a PDF you print out. Good girl. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to call this one a broadcast. We've been on here for about an hour. I am going to be posting the GoFundMe on this. So if you guys want to help me. And I thank you guys for watching. And thank you guys for being here. This is a nightly thing for me. I do this sometime usually between 5 and 8 at night. Pacific Standard Time, of course, right now. So, yeah, CC Nightly. Absolutely right to film. And I thank you guys for being here. I'm really... Mad love to Boston, too. Hey, I'm from Connecticut originally. I love Boston. I'm a New Englander. So... Alright, guys. Well, thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing. Remember... Oh, Sarah! Oh, honey, you just missed me. I've been on for an hour. Give me a call, Sarah. Call me. Alright, dear? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. Remember, as always, stay free, stay safe, and always exercise your rights. This is Maddie with Constitutional Corner, and Constitutional Corner is you guys. You guys are Constitutional Corner, guys. You guys make Constitutional Corner what it is, so I am very grateful for everything that you guys do. Thank you very much. You guys have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.